In this video, we're going to be focusing on the basics of sit, stay, and come. Join Jim and Sarah as they discuss why these commands are important and how to teach these commands to your puppy.
So Retta is about 3 months old, and I think she's ready for some formal, disciplined training. So where should we really start with that?
I think you should start with the foundation of all dog training, and that's sit and stay and come. Those three commands are the basis of what you're going to be learning to do to train your dog for the next several months.
Gotcha. So we really are starting at the basics of everything. And what do those three things really do for a hunting dog? I know that's really important for any dog in general, hunting or not. But why is that specifically important for a dog that is hunting?
Well, it's really important. The number one reason is the safety issue of it. Your retrieving dog is going to be in a lot of different situations. If you live up here on Lake Erie, it's going to be in the marshes. It could be in Lake Erie. It could be on a small inland lake in the middle of Ohio. But you're always putting that dog in a water situation where it could be safe or unsafe. Out here at Pickerel Creek, we have several parking lots that are located right along State Route 6. So when you have your dog in your truck and you let it out of the truck, you got to make sure you got complete control over that dog, especially around in a highway situation.
Gotcha. So a lot of roads, but then out in the field, I could see where maybe stay would be really important. If there's ducks circling and people are shooting, or yourself is shooting, and that dog breaks and kind of runs out into a dangerous situation, I could see where that probably is important as well.
Oh yeah. Especially here, in Ohio, we have a teal season, and sometimes when teal season, it could get kind of crazy. Ducks flying everywhere, and you create a situation where the dog maybe sees birds fall, and you don't want that dog to retrieve that duck yet. You just put it in a really bad situation because maybe you or your fellow hunters may or may not know where Retta's at. And if they don't know where Retta's at and they're shooting, that's never a good combination. So that reinforces that sit, stay, come is important for safety as well.
Around 3 months of age, you should start a more formal training process in correcting your puppy's bad behaviors. This will also increase the bond between you and your puppy as she starts focusing on you and listening to you. Formal training does not take place during playtime, and you will want to avoid most distractions. Take your pet away from other dogs and people, find a secluded place, and get started.
Okay, well, the basic commands are sit and stay and come, and of those three, sit is probably the easiest. When you have your pup, if it's three months old, hopefully you've been having it to where you could, when you're feeding it, you're having the dog sit. Now it becomes a little bit more serious. When you start training your dog, you want to have it sit, and that's by gently push the dog's butt down and give it the command sit, and just slightly put some pressure on its butt and have it sit down. And it's pretty easy. And you continue to do that over and over, and eventually that you won't have to put any pressure on your dog's butt, and it'll just naturally sit. Now, in behind that sit, a lot of people use the word stay, which is fine. We do with our dogs, but some people don't. When you have a dog sit, they're essentially making that dog sit and stay. So on one command, the word is sit. So we like to use the word stay. Actually, it's kind of natural for us to kind of say sit and stay. But in essence, you really don't need the word stay if you're having the dog sit. The only time that I would say that you would need the word stay is if a dog was standing in water, doesn't really want to sit down in the water. You could give the command stay and it'll stay. But with stay, try to use sit and stay together when you're training the dog, when you're training your dog. And later on, keep putting that dog in situations where it's tempted not to sit or stay. For instance, a lot of times we'll take the dogs and we'll take them for a walk and we'll just have them sit. And then we'll walk several hundred yards down the road, and they should continue sitting. If they don't sit, take them back to where you had them sit, push down on their butt, have them sit, tell them to stay, walk that X amount of distance. The first time you do it, you may only walk 10 yards, and then you don't want to set up your dog to fail. In other words, first time you do this, you don't want to have it sit and stay and walk 300 yards. The dog is probably not going to stay, okay? So the first time you do this, have it sit, have it stay, walk 10 yards, turn, and come to it, and say the word come. Obviously, it's going to want to be with you, so it's going to come to you. So that come command is very responsive, especially when you're separated from your dog at first.
So Retta has got sit down pretty well. She usually stays for the most part, but she doesn't always come to me. Whether she gets distracted or she just doesn't move right away, she doesn't always come directly to me like I would want her to. So what exactly do I do about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. First thing I would do is put Retta on a leash, have her sit and stay and come, walk the distance of your leash, and tell her to come. And then if she doesn't come, pull the leash in, pull the dog to you. And then when she comes to you, tell her good girl, tell her good job. Some people would use what's called a check cord. It's nothing really more than a long leash is really all it is. So you can increase that distance if you want. So if you have her sit and stay, and if she doesn't want to come, have a 20 or 30, 40, even 50-foot check cord, and just pull the dog to you, and the whole time say come. The other way you could do it is, for instance, if a dog's running around the yard and it's not coming, go and get it. Simple. And be firm. Use some pressure. Grab the dog behind its ears and say come the whole time where you was standing. And then when she does get there, you're putting some pressure on her. It's something that she doesn't want to do, but you're making her do it. And then when she does do it, when she comes to you, even after putting that pressure, still give her that praise. So you as a trainer have to know to be firm. You have to know when to be patient, but then you also need to know when to praise her when she does a good job.
So you keep talking about praise and giving this positive feedback and positive reinforcement, but I know some people give their dogs treats. Can I give Retta a treat, when she sits or stays or comes or does something, that I want her to do?
No, I wouldn't, especially if you're, quote, in school or you're training. Don't give a dog a treat. That praise that you give your dog, that's their treat. And especially a Labrador, but you see it in also all the retrievers. When you're happy, they're happy, and that's their treat to them, showing them your happiness. Now, having treats at home is fine. There's nothing wrong. Kelly will trim our dog's nails, and when they're done, they get a treat. And so here's this very, very negative experience, or experiencing getting their nails chopped, and when they get the treat, it's a positive experience. So it kind of like balances everything out. So they don't want to get their nails clipped, but they know they get a treat afterwards when they're done. So I think there's time and places for treats. There's nothing wrong with them, but I would not use treats as a training method for your dog.
Is there any advanced training I should be doing or other ways that I can teach her to do those commands while there's other distractions going on around her?
Yeah. One of the things that we do with our dogs is have them sit and have them stay. And like I stated earlier, and keep increasing that distance to where you get, say 60, 70, maybe even 100 yards away from Retta, and she's still safe, and just have her come. And then when she gets about halfway to you, use the command sit and have her sit down at 40 or 50 yards away, and then have her sit there for maybe a minute or two. She really wants to come to you, so that's a distraction to her. I want to come to you, and I don't want to sit. I want to be with you. Well, later on, as you're hunting, you'll learn how important that is, to have that dog sit at any time that you want it to sit, especially for safety reasons. But yeah, try that technique and see if that works for you. If she comes all the way to you, that's okay. Take her back there where you told her where you told her to sit. Have her sit, then back off that 60 yards away or wherever you told her to sit.
Thank you for joining us today. We hope you continue to follow our puppy's training journey. If you enjoyed this video, you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, OhioDNR, to receive notifications about future videos. You can also like the Ohio Division of Wildlife on Facebook to see posts about future Training Your Waterfowl dog videos.